The clash of the two strongest of the Savannah, the lion and the hyena. Their territories bordered each other, separated by a winding river that served as both a boundary and a source of life. For years, and an easy truce had held between them. Leo, confident in his strength, tolerated the hyenas as scavengers who cleaned up after his kills. Scarla, aware of Leo's power, kept her clan in check, biding her time, waiting for an opportunity. The drought was changing everything. The river was shrinking, the water holes were drying up, and the prey animals were growing scarce. Desperation was in the air, fueling tensions and testing the limits of the truce. The wind carried a new scent of blood. A lone wild beast, weakened by hunger and thirst, had strayed too close to the hyena territory. Scarlet, sensing an opportunity, ordered her clan to strike. The wild beast was quickly overwhelmed, its life extinguished in a flurry of teeth and claws. Leo heard the commotion. He knew what it meant. The hyenas were encroaching on his territory. Leo stood atop a rocky outcrop, his eyes scanning the horizon. He saw the hyenas gathered around the carcass of the wild beast, their laughter echoing across the plains. It was a blatant act of defiance, a clear challenge to his authority. He felt a surge of anger, but he suppressed it. He knew that a rash decision could have disastrous consequences. He needed to think strategically, to weigh the risks and the rewards. He turned to his trusted lieutenant, Suri, a wise and experienced lioness who had been by his side for many years. "What do you think we should do?" Leo asked, his voice low and gravelly. Suri hesitated, her eyes filled with concern. "We could attack, force them back to their territory," she said. "But it would be a costly battle. We are not as strong as we once were. And if we do nothing," Leo countered, "they will continue to encroach, to test our limits. Eventually, they will take everything." They discussed their options, weighing the pros and cons of each. They knew that the drought was only going to get worse, and that the competition for resources would only intensify. Leo made his decision. "We will send a message," he said, his voice firm. "We will show them that we are not to be trifled with." He gathered a small hunting party, including Zuri and his two grown sons, Jabari and Kofi. They set off towards the hyena territory, their eyes fixed on the horizon. The tall grass swayed in the wind, creating an illusion of movement. Shadows danced and shifted, concealing dangers that lurked beneath the surface. Leo knew that they were being watched. Scarla had anticipated their move. She had positioned her hyenas strategically, ready to ambush them at any moment. The tension was palpable, a thick, suffocating blanket that hung over the savannah. Scarla watched the lions approach, her lips curled into a sinister grin. She knew that Leo was a formidable opponent, but she was not afraid. She had her own strengths, her own strategies. She had studied Leo for years, analyzing his every move, learning his weaknesses. She knew that he was honorable, that he valued loyalty, and that he was fiercely protective of his pride. She also knew that he was growing old. She had devised a plan that would exploit Leo's weaknesses and turn his strengths against him. She would lure him into a trap, isolate him from his pride, and then crush him. She sent a small group of hyenas to harass the lions, taunting them, provoking them, leading them deeper into her territory. The lions, driven by anger and frustration, gave chase. Leo, sensing a trap, tried to hold them back, but his sons were too eager to prove themselves. They charged forward, heedless of the danger. The hyenas led them into a narrow canyon, where they were ambushed. Dozens of hyenas swarmed from the rocks, attacking the lions from all sides. The lions fought bravely, but they were outnumbered. Jabari was separated from the group, surrounded by a pack of hyenas. Leo saw his son in danger. He roared, a sound that shook the very earth, and charged into the fray. He fought with a ferocity that surprised even himself. He tore through the hyenas, clearing a path to his son, but it was too late. Jabari was badly wounded, his body bleeding from multiple bites. Leo scooped up his son and retreated, his heart filled with rage and despair. Scarla watched them go, her laughter echoing through the canyon. She had drawn first blood. Leo carried Jabari back to their territory, his movements slow and labored. The wound was severe, and Jabari was losing blood quickly. Zuri and Kofi rushed to their side, their faces etched with concern. They helped Leo lay Jabari down in the shade of a baobab tree. Zuri examined the wound, her eyes filled with a mixture of hope and dread. "It's bad," she said, but not fatal. We need to clean it and bind it quickly. They worked together, tending to Jabari's wound with the skill and care that only a mother could provide. Kofi stood guard, his eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of danger. Leo watched them, his heart heavy with guilt. He had led his son into a trap. He had failed to protect him. He knew that Scarla was testing him, pushing him to his limits. She wanted to provoke him, to force him into a war. He also knew that he couldn't afford to back down. He had a pride to protect, a legacy to uphold. He made a vow. He would not let Scarla win. He would not let his pride fall. He would fight. The days that followed were filled with tension and uncertainty. Jabari slowly recovered, but he was weakened, his spirit broken. The drought continued, the river shrinking, the prey animals growing scarcer. The hyenas grew bolder, encroaching further into lion territory, stealing their kills, harassing their cubs. Leo knew that a storm was brewing. He could feel it in the air, in the restless movements of his pride, in the distant howls of the hyenas. He prepared for war. He rallied his pride, reminding them of their strength, their courage, their legacy. He taught them new hunting techniques, new fighting strategies. He instilled in them unwavering determination to defend their home. He also sought allies. He sent messengers to neighboring prides, seeking their support. Some agreed to help, others refused, fearing the wrath of Scarla. But Leo was not deterred. He knew that he had to fight, even if he had to fight alone. The sun beat down upon the savannah, the heat intensifying, the air growing thicker. The storm was coming. One night, as the moon hung heavy in the sky, the hyenas attacked. They came in waves, a tide of teeth and claws, their howls echoing through the darkness. The lions were ready. They stood their ground, their roars answering the hyenas' howls, their eyes gleaming with defiance. The battle was fierce, brutal, and chaotic. Lions and hyenas clashed in a whirlwind of teeth and claws, their bodies writhing and twisting in the dust. Leo fought like a man possessed. He tore through the hyenas, protecting his pride, inspiring his warriors. Zuri fought with unmatched ferocity, her clothes ripping and tearing, her teeth sinking deep into flesh. Kofi fought with a controlled rage, his movements precise and deadly, his focus unwavering. Jabari, still weakened from his wound, fought with a desperate courage, determined to prove himself worthy of his father's respect. But the hyenas were relentless. They swarmed over the lions, overwhelming them with their numbers. The lions began to fall. Zuri was wounded, her leg broken by a hyena's bite. Kofi was surrounded, struggling to defend himself against a relentless assault. Leo saw his pride faltering. He knew that they couldn't hold out much longer. He made a desperate decision. He charged towards Scarla, his eyes fixed on his target, his body fueled by rage and adrenaline. He tore through the hyena ranks, scattering them in his wake. He reached Scarla, his roar shaking the very earth. "This ends now," he roared, his voice filled with fury. Scarla met his gaze with a chilling smile. "It's over, Leo," she said, her voice low and menacing. "Your reign is at an end." She gestured, and from the shadows emerged a figure that Leo had never expected to see. It was Jabari. But this Jabari was different. His eyes were cold and calculating, his face devoid of emotion. "Jabari," Leo stammered, his voice filled with disbelief. "What is this time the video should be about more than just survival. It's about destiny. The lion, the undisputed king, roars his dominance. He's a symbol of strength, the ruler of his pride. But something is shifting. The hyena clan, led by a cunning and ruthless matriarch, dares to challenge the lion's reign. They are the scavengers, the opportunists, and they have their own hunger for power. A forbidden line has been crossed. A sacred hunting ground has been invaded. The stage is set for a clash of epic proportions. Our camera captures the unfolding drama, the tense standoff, and the heart-stopping moment when the first blow is struck. This is more than just a fight. It's a story of courage, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of survival. Will the lion's raw power prevail, or will the hyena's cunning strategy topple the king? Witness the clash that could redefine the balance of power in the savannah. Prepare for Clash of Fates, Hyena versus Lion, a story you won't forget.